And now, the Rise Above Show, presented by Roofing.com and hosted by Diego Dante.
Welcome to the Rise Above Show, presented by Roofing.com. My name is Diego Dante, and with us today on the podcast, we have Brandon Allen and Aaron Brookens of Brookens Construction out of Madison, Wisconsin. Now, these guys are good friends of mine, and I've known them now for about a year, and they... when I met them, they were starting on this journey of business and personal development. And so one of those things that we talked about on this podcast is how they started out building systems and processes for their company and how that helped them when they hit their busy season, and how this busy season differed from the ones they've had in the past because they became organized and they were building out the systems and processes, and they built out this well-oiled machine, and how much that affected them in their business and in their personal lives, and how much that affected their employees as well, right? So the second thing that we talked about them developing as leaders and some of the things that they've been able to overcome in their personal lives. These guys have had a lot of trials and tribulations, but they've been able to rise above, become leaders, affect the people that they work with. And, they get messages from their people telling them, how much they've inspired them and been able to help them. And so their people love coming into work because they've built out this great culture at Brookens Construction. So I was excited to sit down and talk with them. I hope that you enjoy the podcast. And with that, let's get to the episode. What's up, guys?
Hey.
We are live out of Bear Lake, Utah, and we're at the REVOLT retreat, December 2021. And I think this is now probably REVOLT 3 for you guys. I think you've been to a couple of the free retreats that we've done, and then you've both come out to the last member retreat that we did also in Utah in May. And now we're out here in Bear Lake, Utah. So what do you guys think so far?
Man, what an experience.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Love it. Love every part of it.
You were out skiing earlier.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean you were killer on the slopes out there.
I was doing some carving for sure. It was awesome going up to the summit, and the views that we saw from up there were incredible.
You guys get much skiing where you guys are from?
Yeah, we do a little bit of skiing, maybe once or twice a year.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and introduce you guys. For anyone who doesn't know who you guys are, go ahead and introduce yourselves and your company, where you guys are from, all that.
Okay. So I'm Aaron Brookens, co-owner of Brookens Construction, 32 years old, from Wisconsin.
Madison, right?
Madison area. Yep.
Yeah.
Got 3 beautiful daughters and a beautiful wife.
Sweet.
Hey, I'm Brandon Allen, the other co-owner of Brookens Construction, 33 years old, and I've got 4 kids. We just had one about 4 months ago, so that'll do for the kids.
Yeah.
Won't be having any more, so.
I hear you. So Brookens Construction, Wisconsin. Tell me a little bit of the backstory. I've heard the story from you guys before. It's super powerful, So I want to hear the story of how you guys started Brookens Construction. What came about, and then I know Aaron, you started. I want to hear, how Brandon came into to Brookens.
Okay. Yeah. Always happy to tell a story. So, excuse me. I was attending University of Whitewater, Wisconsin, and I didn't know what I was going to go for. I didn't know what I was going to major in. Got my first bill after the first semester. I was like, man, this is crazy. Started calling friends from school, like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Trying to figure it out. One guy was like, oh, I work for a roofing company. Just about hung up on him. I'm like, that sounds terrible. He's like, well, I'm not actually putting the roofs on. I'm just selling them. So I was like, oh, really? Okay, cool. That sounds cool. Anyway, long story short, I went down there, traveled out of state, went down to Florence, Kentucky to sell some roofs, and it was kind of a really shady operation. So I didn't last long there. A couple months into that, I decided to come home. and I was gonna start this business. Brandon, I've been talking to Brandon about it. I'm like, hey, I think that we could probably do this. We could probably be good at it. And then I crashed a truck shortly after that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, put a halt to that. Kind of, went back to doing some other things. Worked for a friend of mine's family business, selling diesel engine parts for a little while, and eventually got back into roofing sales for a few local companies here in Wisconsin. Really liked it. Still kind of had that ambition to one day have my own company. Had been talking to Brandon about it for a long time, and one day, I just kept talking about it, and one day he's like, "Hey man, like I don't want to hear another thing about this roofing business that you're gonna start. Like either do it or like shut up about it." So after getting that advice, I think I hung up on him. I was mad at him. I hung up on him, but then I had a point to prove. I was like, all right, now I'm going to do it. Now I'm going to prove to him, I'm not going to shut up about it. I'm going to make it happen. So got to work, just grinded it out. A lot of door knocking, going through all the motions, just a repetition, and got it off the ground. And Brandon joined the business not even a year later. So that's kind of the beginning of the company.
So Brandon, I want to hear your side of the story.
Yeah, that's that's how it went down. I was really looking for him to get it off the ground because I had a decent job at the time and kind of had a career established. I don't really have to do this, but I do see the potential in it. And if you want to go ahead and put your money where your mouth is, then let's see what you can do. And I mean, I think he sold like $750,000 or like $800,000 and like a year in sales. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, so he can do the sales. And Aaron's really good at selling and the marketing and like talking to people, and he's just that type of person. But he's not super organized. Like he's not great at keeping track of the production stuff and the billing. So that's kind of where I fit in. Like I like to just tell people that he writes the checks and I cash them. So he's signing contracts. As soon as that contract is signed, it comes into my court, and then I'm fulfillment. And so that was like 2015, and we've been steady growing ever since. We've had growth and then maybe a plateau year here or there, but then some more growth. And so now we're at the point where we've taken a lot of the things we've learned in REVOLT as far as ways to scale the business up and put them into play. And as Hunter says a lot, like it's already happened. The time just hasn't elapsed yet. Like we're going to hit some pretty big goals in 2022, and so we're just excited for the time to elapse at this point.
So let's talk about that, because I've seen you guys make a lot of changes and a lot of things that you guys have been implementing this last year. So talk about, obviously we talked about the backstory of Brookens. Let's talk about what you guys have been up to this last year, specifically with what things you guys have been doing with your company, because you guys have been building out systems and processes. I want to hear about some of those and how that's affected you guys, because you guys also had a storm this year, right? So you started building out these systems and processes, and then you get hit with a storm. How did those things help you during the storm, because I'm sure you guys have had storms in the past, so how did the storm differ once you had the systems and processes in place versus the years prior?
Man, it would be such a mess right now with that new hail that we got. I want to back it up a second and talk about like the fulfillment aspect and the buy-in from the company, because that happened before all the processes and everything did. We went to that first free Gatlinburg retreat, and we were like, holy crap, there's this, this is what we've been missing. This is what is really important.
And for anyone who doesn't know, I don't want to use this as an opportunity to, I'm not trying to pitch REVOLT to anyone. I just want to let them know what you're talking about. We do these free retreats for business owners where we bring business owners in. It's completely free, and we'll teach all the systems and processes that Cornerstone Construction used to scale. And we'll show that to you guys, and then it's up to you guys to go home and apply those things. That's what you're referring to with those free retreats.
Yep, absolutely. So there were no questions for either one of us. I remember looking at Brandon the last night, and we were both 100% bought in. Went home, got to work right away, and we had our end of the year retreat like a month maybe after that first free retreat, and just really talk to the team about everything, and kind of reciprocated what our experience was at the REVOLT retreat with our company. So that was huge. And then we got to work on the processes, and I'm not going to speak a whole bunch on that. I'm going to let Brandon do it because I think he's going to do a better job there. But yeah, it's been a huge difference.
Yeah, so the processes that we put into play. I mean, we obviously already had a business that had been doing pretty good for several years. So it wasn't like it was just a complete mess and like we didn't have any idea what we were doing. But there were some fundamental things that we were lacking pretty severely, and we really didn't even know that we were missing these things. So a couple of the big things that we took away was like what Cornerstone referred to as the six-figure blueprint. We took that and
a training platform for
Exactly.
your sales reps.
Yep. And, not only a training platform for the sales reps, because our business model is different from a lot of, the typical insurance restorations companies where, we have a sales force and then we have like an operations force. And so it's a little bit different, but just the concept of like, hey, if you want to scale your business, then have something that's repeatable so that you can bring people in, put them through the same system every single time, and just run it. Just continue to do that instead of the alternative that we have done for the years past, where it's like, all right, well, we got to find somebody that, can walk and talk at the same time, and then get them in the truck for a few months and see if maybe they might be a good fit. So you can see how that would like really hinder your ability to scale like quickly. Some of the other things was just like, you guys talk about knowing the numbers. We talk about that in REVOLT all the time, and like, we didn't know the numbers. We just knew at the end of the year, whatever the accountant said that, taxes were going to be. We're like, oh, dude, we did this much this year, but we really never got track of it. So, now we keep really, really good track of the numbers, and through that, you're able to make predictions for the future and make good, solid decisions on like what's the best move at this point based on this solid data. So it makes it really fun. It's like it kind of takes the guesswork out of like, hey, do you think this might be a good idea? It's like, no, we can see this is what we need to do. So,
right on.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So, Rise Above show. We're talking about experiences that people have had where they've risen above, and the reason why we started this show was so that I'm not just sharing my story, Hunter's not just sharing his story, but we're sharing the stories of everyone. So I want to get to, with you guys specifically, I'm going to ask you guys, what's a big failure that you've had? It could be in your business, it could be in your personal lives, and how you've been able to rise above from that.
You want to take it?
Sure. I've been through some adversity, man. Definitely. So I'm going to talk about that. So just like, I'm not going to go into detail, but some serious adversity. I mean, we had a single mom. We lost her. I was 13 years old. That was the first, big crazy thing that had happened. But then 19 years old, I crashed a truck really badly. I broke both femurs. A few years later after that, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Had to have brain surgery. So a lot of times when people are faced with that type of adversity, they don't recover from it. They don't get in the right state of mind. They sink into this, state of depression, and then it starts to, multiply, and that kind of that's what you identify yourself as and with. And for me, I think the key thing, on the Rise Above topic is just, the ability to know that, or the ability to control your thoughts and your perspective on things. So we can never, I come to realize this, we can't always control the circumstances, but we can always control our perspective on the circumstances. So Like it's not that difficult to maintain a positive mindset when you're running a successful business and everything in life is going good. Like you're probably going to have a positive mindset. But when you're laying in a hospital bed with two broken ass legs, like that's a completely different story. So just knowing that that's what it takes is to keep that positive mindset and know that, hey, I can't change this. This is the reality. You got to accept the reality of the situation. But where you go from there will determine everything. So I chose the positive attitude. I chose that I was gonna, fight back. I wasn't gonna settle for a piss poor life because I've been dealt these circumstances, and I've been really blessed. I have people in my life like Brandon, everybody in the business, my wife. God's blessed me with beautiful children. So I believe I rose above from some of that adversity with the physical stuff, and I don't know, I'm thankful for that perspective. And whenever I get a chance to tell that story and share that perspective with somebody, whether they're dealing with something right now or whether something's about to happen next year that they could never, is going to blindside them and they couldn't prepare for it, that maybe hopefully I can help somebody.
That's crazy, man. I love hearing your story.
Thanks. Brandon,
I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
Specifically about with on the business side. How do you know that how will you know that you have succeeded in business?
That's a great question. We just spent a lot of time talking about that today with a former Navy SEAL, and I really, my answer a few hours ago might have been different, slightly. The main thing that has changed for us as leaders in our business and what we really got, like the core of what we took away from REVOLT immediately, was that we're not doing this for the money. Like the money is a side effect. And when we realized that your only way to gain true fulfillment is through the impact that you have on other people, it changed everything. I mean, it changes your motives. It changes the way that you see things and the reason why you do things. Something really interesting that we learned today that goes hand in hand with this from Larry was that, and I'm probably going to fumble through this, but he said you can have, dang man, what did he say? He said you can have accomplishments without fulfillment, but you can't have fulfillment without accomplishments, because fulfillment comes from having, a positive daily experience that's repeatable. And so, you can't have that where you have a life that's fulfilling without the success. It follows, but it's a side effect. It's not what our focus is. It's not why we do it. We do it with the mindset and the intention to create fulfillment, not just for ourselves either, for everybody else around us. And it's like the secret, man. It's the secret.
Man. Well, guys, we're going to end it kind of on a light note. I want to hear very strategically here. I know that first time that we had the retreat with you guys, there was some tension there at the football game. So
We're done here.
So I want to know, have y'all been practicing for the next football game? What's going to happen here? Who's got the trophy this next time?
I mean, I want Hunter on
I really
my
just
team.
want to hear the trash talk, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, no, I'm not going to lose to him. So, that's not going to happen.
Well, since we were told by Hunter to bring snow boots because it was going to be snowing, everybody wore snow boots, and then those guys showed up in cleats and stuff. So I thought that was a little sketchy, but no, it's all for fun. Of course, everybody in REVOLT wants to win. They're used to winning. They're winners. So it always sucks to lose, but it's okay when you're losing to people that they're strong, good people, So that makes it okay. It's all in good competition. So still coming back for the W, though. I'm going to give it everything I got.
I believe it. Guys, I've enjoyed having y'all on the podcast. Brookens Construction, if you guys go ahead and follow them on social media, these guys are doing big things. I'm excited for what you guys are going to accomplish in 2022. And we'll catch you guys next time on the next episode of the Rise Above Show. See ya.
See ya.
So a guy walks into a bar, right? Has no idea what he's doing there. Totally like continues to walk in, and everyone just looks at him, and he's like, "What am I doing here?" And then he turns around and walks out.